In the debris of a disused Dundee hospital, the abandoned detailed medical records of young children, their case histories wide open for anyone who stumbles upon them to see. Tonight, amid growing political anger, there are calls for the Health Minister to consider her position. They're the medical case histories of young children discarded in an abandoned hospital but containing deeply sensitive details about people's lives. In an exclusive report for North Tonight, Susan Nicholson was shown the confidential records dumped in Dundee's Strathmartine Hospital, a derelict site due for development. The documents have lain unmoved despite the knowledge of the NHS Trust and Public Health Minister Shona Robison. Tonight there's political pressure for her to consider her position. Well, Susan Nicholson joins us now live from the former hospital. Susan.
Norman, tonight I'm outside Strathmartine Hospital. A few nights ago I was on the inside after being told by a local historian that this former psychiatric hospital was littered with patients' documents. I took a look for myself. I'm at Strathmartine Hospital on the outskirts of Dundee. It's just after 8 o'clock in the evening and I'm about to go inside the building. You can see that this door here, it's the entrance to some old children's wards, has been kicked in. Access has been gained and I'm just about to show you how easy it is to get in. Well, that took a matter of seconds. Just a few yards down the corridor, tattered teddy bears are not the only reminder of the children who were treated here. In among the wreckage of this ward, we found this day book. It's dated the 27th of December 1986 and it details the names of the patients who've been in this ward, the medication that they've been taking, all the drugs are listed in here and how they're doing. I was shown around the hospital by Karen Macaulay. She's visited the site 30 times during the past 2 years as part of a local history project and has repeatedly told NHS Tayside about patient documents dumped all over the site.
I think when you allow them 2 years to do their job and don't publicly announce what's happened to give them an opportunity to do their job, when it gets to this stage, you know, I feel that they haven't been taking this matter seriously at all and it needs to be resolved for the people who once resided here. It's not something that's personal for us, but certainly the patients who are here, it's justified that this is cleared up for them.
In a cottage near the main building, we find evidence that the NHS hasn't acted on Karen's concerns.
This is documentation that I've actually reported to the NHS now and has been reported to them for over a year. They had actually assured us that they cleared this on the 24th of January and quite clearly they haven't been anywhere near it at all. It's absolutely disgusting to find this still sitting here.
In a hole in the cottage floor, an even more shocking discovery. Among the reams of paperwork, we find documents relating to the adoption of a young girl, including her name, address, date of birth and the name and address of her foster parents in Fife. Another file contains details of a 5-year-old girl from Dundee born with fetal alcohol syndrome. A letter from a consultant confirms she's suffering from serious heart disease and may require surgery. The hospital site, now owned by a housing developer, is far from secure. We spent 2 hours here, unchallenged. Photographs of the inside of the buildings have been posted on the internet by a group called Urban Explorers. Another website shows the hospital has been used as a battleground by war games enthusiasts. Any number of people could have laid their hands on sensitive patient information since the hospital closed 3 years ago. The question is, why did NHS Tayside leave it lying around?
Susan, clearly a number of questions to be answered and this has caused something of a political row too.
Yes, that's right, Norman. Our story has led to questions being asked at the Scottish Parliament today. Public Health Minister and local MSP Shona Robeson knew there were patient documents here. She did write to NHS Tayside demanding action, but Labour say that's not enough given her powerful position. This from our political correspondent Michael Crowe.
Shona Robeson is the local MSP for Dundee East, but she is also the Public Health Minister. Her letters to NHS Tayside clearly show that she knew last year, when she was a Health Minister, that personal records were lying around the derelict hospital. Will you apologise to the people whose records have been found?
Well, of course, I would apologise to them. We certainly wouldn't want anybody's records or any personal details. I certainly wouldn't want my personal details to be left lying in a hospital.
However, despite her request to get the records removed, little seems to have been done. In one letter dated January the 15th to the chairman of NHS Tayside, she says, "It is clear that after the site was cleared last year, there were items left that could very well have been personal." But even though Shona Robeson is a minister, our evidence shows that she's failed to resolve the matter. The Shadow Health Secretary says she's been negligent by not acting as a minister to protect patients.
It is deeply concerning that Shona Robeson, Scotland's Minister for Public Health, knew records were lying around and she took no effective action to deal with this. I think this is negligent. I think it undermines her authority and serious questions must be asked about her legitimacy as Minister for Public Health in Scotland.
But Shona Robeson says she did everything she could and is passing the blame onto the Health Board.
Well, of course we expected NHS Tayside to take the action to sort the situation out.
But why didn't you check that they had taken that action or not?
Well, we have checked. I've been in correspondence with them.
So why are the records still there?
Well, because they told me that they thought they had dealt with the issue and then more records came to light in another part of the hospital, part of which was in a difficult and partly derelict state. So it has been a bit more difficult and there's been some technical difficulties.
This is all extremely embarrassing for Shona Robeson. Not only has she failed to clear up this mess, her authority has been undermined and it's all happened in her own backyard. Her future as a minister is far from certain. Michael Crowe, STV News.
Susan, that's the political fallout. What about Tayside NHS Trust? What are they saying?
Well, Danny McLaren, the Assistant Chief Executive, has released a statement. He says he fully acknowledges that this situation should not have arisen and it's completely unacceptable. He's apologising for the circumstances which led to patient documentation being left at Strathmartine. He says the NHS has approached the site owners for permission to go in and remove the paperwork. They say it's a priority to get onto the site urgently and remove these sensitive documents. But that's little comfort for the former patients and their families. It's likely that further pressure will be brought to bear on NHS Tayside to explain in detail how this documentation debacle happened. Back to you, Norman.
Susan, thank you.